we turn things over in our minds and in our hearts. When we think about the state of the world and what role we have played in it. Be with us today, Lord, and guide our discussion. In Jesus' name, amen. I want to tell you that we're at a turning point. Lockwood United Methodist Church is at a turning point in his life. And that's always sounds kind of ominous, and it always sounds kind of promise. Those two things going hand in hand. If there's not some danger, we have a hard time appreciating the opportunities that we might have. So it's kind of a mixed blessing, you might say. And we have a couple reports to share with you. And we want to remind you of some history of our church. Lockwood United Methodist Church has been here for a long time. There are many souls who've come in here and spent years that have been blessings to everyone around. I think of Charlie Mashburn for one. He told me he'd been coming to Lockwood Church for 80 years. And because he lived so close by, he would just walk through the cemetery every Sunday and be here. And he was well loved. We loved Charlie. I remember my last conversations with Charlie. When he broke his foot, it was a major turning point in his life. And he felt confined at home. Boy, talk about changing his style of life. It wasn't the same. And even just days before he died, he knew what was going on. He prepared himself. But that's a real blessing. Any of us are just here for a very short time. 93 years, in one way we think about that as being a long time. But another way, it's only a blink in the eternity of time. The substance of that is that Charlie has been with us ever since he arrived at Lockwood Church. And he's still with us in our memories and in our hearts. And Charlie is just one of thousands of people who've been through this congregation and have been loyal members. You remember the time when this sanctuary was full, and there were so many activities that not even the building could hold everything that was going on. And those were blessed times. You also realize that congregations, at least in our day and age, go through certain cycles. At a certain point, things are bustling. And at another point, things are kind of in a nap. Every church goes through that. Every church seeks renewal at the end of it. The danger there isn't so much decline. It is not a number of things we might be afraid of. It's the fact of being afraid. Fear could be the stranglehold of anything. But if we look to the future with promise, with hope, realizing, hey, I'm not in charge, God's in charge. And God's going to show us what we are to be and what we are to do. Think of the food pantry for one. The food pantry is being celebrated in our community. We've received donations from places that, we would never expect. And twice a month, people line up in the parking lot to receive food that they need in this time of emergency. It's a really good thing. We're doing some really good things also. Think about karate class. I've told you before, I think that children are attracted to karate because of the really neat kind of moves they can do. But I've seen those classes, and they're all about discipline and structure, about body control, and what things are important in this life. Nothing could be more spiritual. And it happens in our building. Well, virtually at the moment. But it's coming back. Last night we had an AA meeting downstairs. It's the first time that group gathered together in 2.5 months. It was a good celebration. People need those kinds of things. So we have other things to celebrate too. But you know, we're at a turning point right now. The life in our congregation is not adequate to support the needs of our building. David, can I call on you? David has been one to remind us all along about the dangers that we confront when we see our declining numbers, and we see many of our friends who've become ill and will not leave their houses because they are ill. And because a number of our friends have died and gone on to the next life. We miss them. David has been the one to remind us about our budgetary needs. And I'd like you, David, if you could make a statement about what we talked about in the last several months. Give us an idea of your estimation of it. I'd appreciate it. Found a microphone.
You know where we are.
Thank you very much.
Well, our expenses have been about $6,000 a month, and we've taken in a little less than $3,000 a month, and that's been going on now for a little over a year. And our money is just, we've had some money from the sale of our lot across the street, and we had some money from the sale of our parsonage, and we've been living off that, and that money's just been depleting and depleting over time. And with the coronavirus, things have gotten worse and worse, and we've depleted our savings down now. So we're just about out of money. That's where we're at right now.
There's been some saving graces there because I hear static. All right, thanks. One of the saving graces is that even though people feel confined at home, they're still sending their donations in, which is a glorious thing. Another thing has been the recent legislation through Congress, the CARES Act. That's provided us $8,000. $8,000 that we would not have otherwise.
Praise God.
It's helping to float our budget. But you know, it's only a temporary thing. It tells us not to be afraid and not to give up, but to realize something else needs to happen. And you know, when you look around for something else, it's amazing what you can find. One of the things happening in our community is that there's another Christian congregation that was looking for a home to move to. The Movement Church has been down in Coventry Plaza for a number of years. They're young, average age about 28. And they worship about 120 on Sunday morning. Imagine 120. They're lively, they're young, they like life and music, and they needed a home. So we talked with them. got this huge building here. We've got a small congregation. We've got some budget problems. And they thought, we'll check into it. We have an opportunity at this time to partner with them, to share a space, and they've agreed to give us rent in exchange for that. We were talking about Sunday morning worship services, for instance. We meet at 9:30. They meet at 11 o'clock. Sound doable? They have a number of programs, including a youth program that has 30 to 40 kids.
Praise the Lord.
Imagine more kids in the youth group that we have on Sunday morning service. It reminds me of days when we did Family Worship Center in Warren. And it was a wonderful thing. They have other groups that meet also. And we thought, there's possibilities here. Maybe we need them as much as they need us. And that's really the issue here. If you've received my letters, then you know a summary of this. So pretty much, that's our situation. Now, with any undertaking, there are adjustments to be made. For instance, if we keep our service at 9:30, if we keep it to about an hour, we're doing good, because there would be a time for refreshment and kind of mingling together, getting to know one another after that and before they start. That can be a really good thing. Two ways. We can move out to the foyer there and we can say, oh my goodness, there's strangers here. I want to talk to them. Or we can say, look, there's new friends to meet. You see, one of two attitudes, one of fear, one of hope. We know Christians live in hope, right?
Amen.
So we can have a lot of new friends to meet.
Right.
Now, part of the pragmatics of that is that the way we have it set up now, it's good for about 20 or 25 people. Imagine 150 people there. You got to change some things around in order to accommodate people, right? And that's what we've been speculating about. Now, if you think it's okay, and it's important, you realize this is the first congregational meeting we've had since November. And the reason it's been since November is because we had the death of our chair of church council in December. We missed Vicki. She and her mother would sit right back there next to Dan. And we have missed her a great deal. But Vicki and Glenna not being here has changed us. We also lost Charlie Mashburn. And then this virus hit. We weren't even supposed to come to church. It's been strange. It's been strange to get back on track. This is the first opportunity we've had to have a congregational meeting. And so we're glad to have everybody here.
Amen.
It's an important matter. It needs your thought, needs your reaction to it. It needs us to all be part of the plan, whatever we adopt. So I would invite your comments. Carol?
Yeah, I have a comment. Are they planning on using this sanctuary or the other sanctuary, the chapel?
We have talked about that.
And then also, would we retain our name? And do we have to put their name out there on the marquee? On the sign?
Those are very important questions. I've got answers for about 2/3 of it.
Okay?
We have talked about whether we should worship in the chapel or in the sanctuary. Down with 120 people, they wouldn't fit in the chapel. They would fit in this space. And so we've discussed before, and I remember when we took a vote about whether to keep our morning worship here, and it was 50-50. Exactly. One half saying yes, one half saying no. And I remember saying at the time, we're not going to divide anybody. We're going to keep things going. We've had special services in the chapel. So we've had regular Sunday in the sanctuary. For one thing, you all have invested in the sanctuary over the years. I mean, talk about being sacred. There are a lot of sacred things in this church.
That's right.
And we want to be around those.
Amen.
Another thing is, we're in a time where we're encouraged, if not required sometimes, to remain 6 feet or more apart. Because this is a terrible illness going around. We don't want anybody to get it. We don't want it. Nobody wants it. We don't want anybody to get infected. We want to do everything we can to stay as healthy as we can. Yes, Lisa?
I'm sorry, I was waiting to flow.
Oh. Flo, you were popular this morning.
I got to come up flow.
So, you know, if we get 30 people on a Sunday morning and we want to go into chapel, the challenge would be staying 6 feet apart. One possibility that's been mentioned is instead of meeting at 9:30, why don't we meet at 9:15 or even 9? That would give us extra time. And I could run over even a half an hour. So that's an answer for part of your question. Now, gosh, remind me of the second part, Carol.
About the sign out front.
Oh, the sign out front. The sign out front says Lockwood United Methodist Church. And the Movement Church has a big sign in their place called Movement Church. Now, they're not an independent kind of congregation kind of sprung up. They are members of the Southern Baptist Convention. And you know, if you check out their beliefs online, they say, we believe in this. You know, pretty consistently, they match up to our beliefs too. And if you want to know more, check out the webpage for Southern Baptist Convention. Are Southern Baptist Christians? Of course they are. Are United Methodist Christians? Of course we are. Are we all just a mixture of different groups in our history? You know, the list of people who make up the Methodist trend is longer than my arm. There's so many groups. Just like the Baptists, there's a proud history going back 2,000 years, especially in Europe and in England. It's a marvelous history. And you know, they overlap time and time and time again. David?
I played around on the computer this morning. Nigeria was in church. Women were dressed in beautiful garb with their big things on their heads. Just having a good time, dancing and singing music. Checking it out from Coventry. One site, I guess a combination of sermon and singing. 1,001 hits. I don't quite understand what a hit is on YouTube.
People checking in to watch it.
1,000 hits.
Yeah.
That must mean a lot.
Yeah. Means a lot to people.
That was just on one service.
Yes. Now, Carol, your question is about signage, but it means more than that too. You see, out front, to begin with at least, we would have two signs. We'd have one that says Lockwood United Methodist Church, and then another sign that would say Lutheran Church. In the same place, how about that?
The only thing I think about though too, I can't see the future, nobody can, but you feel like maybe we might be swallowed up by them. I mean, maybe they take over too much, even though they're paying rent. Is it worth it? And yes, we're all God's children, and yes, they need a home, they're gonna get rent for it. Can you say how much rent? Or
Yes, I can tell you that, and I can answer your question even more than that too. The rent that we've negotiated so far is $2,500 a year. I mean, a month.
Oh, I was gonna say a year.
Yeah, $2,500 a month.
Well, that would help.
Help tremendously. Now, a longer answer for your question is that there is a long history of how two congregations have shared the same building again and again and again and again. Back in 200 years ago, there are numerous stories about how one church building was a place for worship for a Methodist congregation as well as a Baptist congregation. They would share things. There were times when a congregational church would share with a Methodist church or with a Presbyterian church. And as sometimes those partnerships last for a short term, sometimes they last for a long term. Another answer to your question is there are evidences of how two congregations, they've gotten along well and they share things, and then they desire, we'd like to have a more formal arrangement. But we don't want to lose being Methodist, and we don't want to lose being Baptist. That's all right. They call it a federated church. Basically, the congregation meets as one congregation, and they report to both denominations. The church I'm familiar with mostly is the one in Chatham. You know where Chatham is? You know where Medina is? Go 5 miles west, and you're in this little bird called Chatham. There's a general store there, which is really neat. Well, it's a little dusty, but it's really neat. You have an ice cream parlor, and next to that is a church. That was the congregational church. Quarter mile up the road was the Methodist church. And for years they thought, oh, we're declining, we're doing this and that. Gee, I don't know if we're going to make it for another year. And then they said, well, we have to cooperate together. It took a long time. But eventually they became one congregation, and they had worship in the one building next to the general store, and they used the other one as a daycare center. Yes?
The only thing I wanted to say also is, if you look at the congregation that we have now, we're all old. We're all older people. So it's not going to get any better. And unless, you start bringing in young people, it's not going to get better, it's going to get worse. And I don't have any objections, but I just think, I wouldn't want to see a merger, because this has been Lockwood Church.
Yes.
That kind of, but yet history shows you, life keeps changing, the world keeps changing. Go figure, change is inevitable.
Yeah. You know what might be the nature of our future relationship? We're not sure yet. We'll talk about that over the summer. Yes.
Hi. I grew up here. But I just heard you say $2,500 a month. But your bills are $6,000 a month. I'm good, I can stand up. Why wouldn't you charge maybe half that if they're using the facility as much as you are?
No, if they want to pay 25, let them pay 25. Why would you want to go less?
I said more.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you said half
Your question is, why don't they pay half of what it costs?
Correct.
To operate.
Because they're operating as much as you are
Yeah.
here, and with all the programs they have. And I probably shouldn't say anything because I am a member of a different church, but my first membership was this church. And you guys might be older, and I grew up with Catholic people in this church, but I moved back over here, and I do have a son who turned 14 yesterday, and he likes it here better. So, just because you're older doesn't mean younger people can't come.
Right.
And a lot of you are on Facebook because I've seen you.
They would.
And there's no reason you can't reach out to people in this community. Because when I came here, this church was full.
Oh, yeah. Same here.
Yeah, you're not the only one who remembers Science Spring was full.
Yeah.
And it gets, we miss those days. Yes,
There's one other thing. Carol said she didn't want the church to be taken over. They can't take over, Carol. This belongs to the United Methodist Church.
Understanding.
We cannot sell it without permission of the United Methodist Church.
I do hope.
And then there's the coming up of maybe splitting the United Methodist Church in conference. So we don't know what the future is here.
yes. Yeah, our denomination, the United Methodist denomination, is a very, very uncertain time. They delayed general conference until sometime next year. They don't have a date set for it yet. And that will, possibly we become two denominations. Can be a very unsettling time. Now, we don't know exactly what the nature of our relationship, our congregation at Lutheran Church will be. But I think there's a lot to talk about in order to make that a permanent kind of arrangement if we want it to be so. Those we can have later talks. The initial proposal is only to share space and to do so on some kind of budgetary means which can benefit both. They have a budget also in answer to part of your question. They have a budget also. And part of it has to do with what they can afford, part of it has to do with what we can afford, and this and that. Yes?
Is it just this Methodist church, or is it others that bring Manchester, this thing? Do they have a problem, or is it just this?
It's many of the United Methodist churches that have problems with declining congregations, lack of financial support. I might remind you, the church that's on Collier Road for years has been Bethel Valley United Methodist Church. They're closed. I understand they've been worshiping 6 people for a long time. And they said, this year's it. We're closed. That's happened again and again lately in our United Methodist Church. Carol?
I was gonna say, something else to think about though, is what if you have a conflict of schedules? Like, they wanna use this and say, we have a program schedule. I'm sure there had to be some negotiation.
Yes, absolutely. We've had a couple talks so far, but there are many conversations that need to take place from here on about how to use space, about how to share, and about our future relationship, whatever form it might take. So in one way, we could say, our congregation's in decline. It's not a good end. On the other way, we can say, there's these new people who want to come into our building, opportunities to get to know them. We may not be as we were before, but we will be something different. Zach?
Something that could be beneficial to both parties is that this is an old dialogue. I might be the youngest one here.
Say it again.
children's care center, like daycare.
Oh, a daycare center. Uh-huh. I studied to be a Montessori teacher in a setting just like that. And I've had the pleasure. It's a marvelous thing.
Let me address your question on that. We have explored that over the years, and to meet state guidelines, education guidelines, the money, and some of the things we can meet pretty simply, but from improvement standpoint and just along that lines, it's cost prohibitive, it really is. Becky, to address what you were saying, as you well know, many of you do, Moving Church was in here before, while their place in Covent Green Plaza was being renovated. It was renovated, they went back in, but the reason they're moving now is because their lease is up here shortly, I mean, within 2 weeks. And they want to get out because, number one, they have to sign a yearly lease. They don't want to commit to that, and the cost, more than likely, will go up what they pay per square foot. And their cost per month, and that's how we arrived at the $2,500 to address what you kind of were asking, I think, Becky. Their cost for rent, and basically they don't even really pay their pastors right now. And they do have the main pastor, Jeff Sharp, and a couple others. Primarily that $4,500 was their utilities and what they pay on the space down there per month. And we initially asked them for $3,000, and they kind of balked at that because it'd be the same as it was down there, because they are paying $3,000 a month for just the space and then the utilities and whatever that other $1,500 went for. So
Okay, they have utilities here, Tom.
what are our utilities?
No, they be paying utilities here,
Well,
or just rent.
no, people will be paying, still paying utilities, correct?
Yes, for this initial period anyway.
But again, they will carry their own insurance in case something happens. Our insurances are, is in the loop as to what we might do. So, again, that $2,500 was a reachable goal for both, and that makes up for some of our shortfall. And as you all see, you see when we put stuff, when Billy puts stuff in the bulletin and everything, our shortfall varies month to month, as you know. But still, when you're constantly depleting the funds available, you can't maintain that. So.
I might add, the agreement we're talking about is in 2 parts. The first part says, for this initial period, it's a matter of sharing space for a rental charge of $2,500 a month. With the assumption that we're going to continue working on a more permanent plan. We don't know all the details of that. But over the next couple months, I think we can identify that. Your church council and their council, I think, can come to terms about what our future relationship would be. It could be that we would decide 2 separate congregations meeting in the same building, now and always. It could be that once we get to know one another, we want to form one family. Possible. Could be that another arrangement more suitable. We don't know that until we have more talks. And so those plans are coming. The initial plan is basically 3 months, share space, rental charge, $2,500 a month.
Plus utilities, right? Plus utilities.
Yeah, we pay utilities now.
Oh, we're paying.
We continue to pay utilities.
Ask you better mention, like, got a group here, you better mention about the roofs.
Oh, we do have a problem with the roof. As I understand it, the roof was put on in 1968, is that right?
Ask Kara.
Part of it was shingle, part of it was flat roof with rubber. And gosh, how many years is that? And that roof has lasted quite well. We've had a couple of incidents lately. One was right over here. You can see stain spots on this view and that view. I saw it dripping from up there right down to there. And so Paul and Harold called the company and they came out and patched it up. It seems to be solved for now. We had a more serious leak. What was that, last November?
Harold had two repairs, right, Harold? We had-
Right. Three altogether.
Yeah, right.
But as of now, we have no leaks, you know. We've been doing some small repairs,
Yes.
but we know what's ahead. We had estimates to replace shingles. That's around $80,000, which we don't have. But the shingles should last another 2 years. Before they go.
The leak I was referring to is the one up on the 3rd floor towards the back of the education building.
Right.
And we put a bucket up there. The company came out and patched it up. But, you know, we all know that roof isn't going to last a whole lot longer. At some point, it's going to be a big expense. And one of our friends in the movement church said, do you mind if we have somebody else come out and take a look at it? You know, let's make a case for hail damage, and we can send it to the insurance company. It's a thought. I would think so. It's worth checking out.
Wait for the next windstorm.
Dave and I were talking about that one hailstorm that came through about 2 weeks ago. And I remember hearing it on the radio saying, there's this golf ball sized hail falling in Medina and it's headed your way. And it seemed to go north of here and south of here. I don't know. Ohio's weather very changeable.
Well, they always say God is alive.
Pastor, one of my concerns is, you know, we don't know how long the virus is going to last. And if we decide to meet in a chapel, like you said, it's going to be tough to keep our space. Do we have a choice, or would we, if we choose to hold our service here, we can do that?
Certainly.
Change the time a little bit, if you want.
Yes. We've talked about that possibility.
Personally, I would prefer that. For some reason, I feel blessed every time I walk in this sanctuary. I don't know, maybe we need to have another count or, you know, where to hold the service. Chapel or sanctuary.
We'll talk more about it. George, you were going to say something?
What I recall a few years ago, when the movement church did meet here, and I didn't know anything about
Thank you very much.
No?
Yes, Carol?
Well, I would say I'm in favor of the other route because I do think, you know, with what we just discussed, nobody's getting younger, everybody's getting older, more and more maintenance, utility prices will start going up. I wouldn't doubt that because prices for COVID-19. But anyways, as well as food. But anyways, I think though, have you already settled on that price, 2,500? I'm with, is it Debbie or, what's her name? What? Becky. I'm with Becky. I think you ought to say, well, if our expenses are $6,000 a month, then let's cut it in half. They're gonna be using everything we have. They're gonna be using all the utilities we have, everything. Cut that, whatever we're spending a month, cut it in half. And they've got a bigger congregation, they can afford that.
It's a thought. I mean,
Have you already negotiated?
we have negotiated. It's still a bit tentative right now.
See if they can push it.
But then this initial agreement is only for 3 months.
Right.
It could be that you put their budget together with our budget, split it in half.
Will
Split
they
the
be
difference.
will they also be using our office and our supplies?
Yes. Well, they'll be using the space.
For one price, 2,500 a month? No, you need to take into consideration what all they will be using. If they want to have access to our rooms over there, the educational part, if they want access to the office, no, take that all into account. I mean, if you're only thinking, oh, they're just gonna use the sanctuary and come and go. No, it doesn't sound like it.
No, they'll have access to other places in the building too.
Yeah. Hey, if our budget's 6,000, cut it and say, can you go half? Because we're extending anything at all to them, correct? But I'm in favor of it, if you want to think of it.
They do have their own supplies, and they have their own equipment. But they would have access to the whole building. We talked about the possibility of sponsoring one another's activities. You know, they would sponsor karate group just like we sponsor karate group. We would sponsor their youth program just like they sponsor their youth program. And then the details of that would need to be worked out soon. And that's why we would continue to talk together. But you're right, before a point you made about mingling together, that is so crucial. You know, if somebody's in your building, you really want to get to know them. So, yeah, it's important to get to know folks. David?
Can we, at least vote on the worship time? If we want to go to 9 o'clock versus 9:30, can we vote on that and pick a date when that would start?
Sure, we can do that.
And the date it would start is it the 31st?
Officially, it would be the first Sunday in June, although
Is that the 31st?
the pastor has asked if they could have the first worship service on May 31, which would be 2 weeks from today. And that's, they're emerging from this Corona emergency also, and they have not been meeting on Sunday morning since March. So this would be their first time to meet.
First one in June is the 7th.
No, keep asking.
Yeah, they want the 31st.
So you would like us to vote on whether to change our time of worship from 9:30? You're suggesting what, to 9?
9.
That's fine.
9?
Okay, we'll make that a motion.
I'll make a motion, let's change the time.
You got a second?
To 9 o'clock.
All right, any discussion about that?
Hey, you guys gotta make sure I get up a half hour early though.
You're here at 8:30. You have to be here at 8 now.
I means Rick has to be here a half an hour early.
Set your clock.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to set my clock this week, so I'll be set. Yeah, that's even better, I like that one.
All right. Well, the issue is, we keep our service at 9:30, or we move our service to 9 o'clock. All right? You ready to vote? Please raise your hand if you want to keep the service at 9:30. David, I don't see any hands up. We're all abstaining.
Questions, do we hands up for that?
All right, raise your hand if you want to move our service to 9 o'clock. All right, that settles that one. Sounds like we're going to 9. Rick, you gotta be here a half an hour early. That's another question. Do you want to start on May 31 or on the first Sunday of June? May 31? Does that make sense? So next week we meet at 9:30. 2 weeks from today we meet at 9 o'clock. Does that sound agreeable? All right. Very good.
Now, is that, accept the offer or negotiate? Or it's already been?
The arrangement that I told you about is acceptable to them. 3 months, sharing space, $2,500 a month.
Are they gonna pay for the half the utilities?
Say it again.
Are they gonna pay for half the utilities?
We would pay our own utilities. But in the course of those 3 months, we talked about a more permanent arrangement. It could be, once you get people in your building and you try to mingle with them, and you find out it ain't gonna work. Then in 3 months it's over. Or it could be that you get new people in your building and you mingle together and you think, gee, we got a big family. Carol?
I want to know, do they also have a Sunday school program?
Yeah,
Or do they
yeah.
have, where they're using our educational unit?
Yes, you get engaged.
No, but do they have a Sunday school program?
That's a good question. Tom, you want to talk about it?
They do have a Sunday school program, Carol.
Okay.
Sometimes it ranges in the 30-ish range with kids, between youth and littler ones, toddlers or whatever. But they have the space back there. Obviously, the Sunday school room works quite well. Upstairs, for the older, for the youth, so to speak. There will probably be, even in this short time of agreement, some cosmetic changes to maybe the hallways, not necessarily the rooms.
Is that at our expense?
No, not at our expense, it will be at their expense.
Can we get that in writing?
Pardon me?
I said, can we get that in writing?
In writing.
Yeah, everything will be in writing. I mean, we've documented pretty much everything so far. In addition to that, as it was before, as George stated, it's a very workable agreement. There'll be cosmetic changes on the altar as well. In the way of more than likely, like as it was before, with screens or whatever. Just, that's what their worship entails and is part of their worship. So, they will not be using the organ. That was a question that Ruth Esther put forward. So, no. Cosmetically, a few things will be taken care of, and they do. They have basically, and again, to address this, there should be a problem logistically, really, at any point. care of what they need to take care of custodial wise, but they'll be here basically Monday through Wednesday. Occasionally, or Sunday through Wednesday, occasionally maybe Saturday night, if something special comes up, but, you know, Sunday worship. Monday isn't an issue really. Tuesday they have something, Wednesday they have uniforms. So, to answer your question, yeah, they will be using rooms in there, but again, cosmetically, a few things may be done as far as painting or whatever. Only in the hallways.
Thanks, Tom. Any other questions? George?
Remodeled their building down there last, it wasn't ready. Our place was temporary, there was no issue with them. When they're ready to move to the pad, they did. No problem.
Thank you very much.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think they really made much of anything beforehand, did they?
I don't remember.
Very minimal, minimal.
As I remember, they made a donation for the time that they were here.
And they regularly have given us a donation to the food pantry. And they'd be willing to be involved in our programs as well as in certain instances.
I want to remind you that the official decision about this is to be made by our church council, which meets on Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock.
My concern is, if they're going to be here 4 or 5 days a week, you know, the thing that kills us now is the utilities, you know. So the utilities are going to be much higher. And they negotiated all about paying some of the utilities. I know the pantry pays electric bill now. We're thankful for that. But I can see the utilities, you know, being much greater than what they are now.
Possibly so. We need to monitor that.
And not only that, Harold, the air conditioning during the summer when it's really hot, heat during the winter, that all takes a lot of extra.
Well, at the moment, we do not have air conditioning. Maybe in the future. We have fans.
Well, another thing, Pastor, to follow up what Harold's talking about, our maintenance is gonna go up.
Say it again.
Our maintenance is gonna go up.
Yeah.
Maintenance.
Our toilets having use, and it's hard, they're gonna be flushing more, our water bill's gonna go up. You gotta figure that, electric's gonna go up, and we are gonna have different problems with electric and power, and you're gonna have to do some repairs on the toilets, which are minor, can be done, but you've gotta figure that all in. Someone's gonna have to pay the bill.
That's right.
So, I mean, me and Harold have repaired everything in this building for the last so many years. We know it inside and out. That's not a problem, but somebody's got to pick up that.
Yeah. You know what I tell people? When they ask about the building in Lockwood, the United Methodist Church, I say, you know, one of the main reasons we kept going as long as we have is Paul and Harold.
Yes.
Because, you know, in a lot of places, something goes wrong, you get on the phone, you call a company to come in, and you get it fixed, and then you pay thousands of dollars to get it done. Paul and Harold, instead of doing that every time, you imagine how much it would cost to fix everything in this building by calling somebody in and paying the bill? Paul and Harold, they spend more time in this building than anybody else. And they notice everything that goes wrong. And they fix it. They'll spend extra time going all over town, finding the right part for the right price, and coming in and saying, well, you know, I'm not sure it's going to fit, but if we do this and that. They are superb at it. I think we have MacGyver and MacGyver right here. And I think you're right, they deserve our applause. Ready?
What about the extra work that's gonna be for Rick? Is there gonna be another custodian? I mean, if they're gonna be in here regarding tax, empty, and slack is somebody else.
It's an excellent question, and I put that to Jeff, who's our pastor. He says, we'll be glad to help you out with anything we can. We have lots of young bodies.
Hopefully we keep our secretary. Hopefully we keep our secretary, we have.
Oh, amen. Nobody can replace Billy. Just like nobody can replace Rick.
Oh, wait, wasn't there like 4 or 5 of you guys that they get a big raise though next week or something? Not to look for somebody else, huh?
You know, Paul and Harold have kept this building going for a long, long time. In the same way, Billy and Rick have kept this building going for a long, long time. We can't replace these people. They are precious to us. Also, they are examples of many of our members. You think about anybody in this church, you're not going to find anybody else like them. Anywhere. Because you're all precious to us. We want to not only preserve our church for the future, we want to make it stronger. We want more people involved. We want more activity. We want life in this church to continue for years and years and years to come. We're not going to follow the path of Bethel United Methodist Church and close. We're going to find another way. All right, anything else before we close?
Are we taking a vote?
Not today, we take a vote on Tuesday morning.
That's on your administrative council.
That's right.
Don't you want to know what you feel like?
Sure, absolutely. I'm not sure what the question would be.
Or do you want to merge?
No, we're not talking about merging.
Okay, all right. Do you want to
It's a
merge?
matter of sharing space for rental charge. And,
How many's in favor?
well, okay. How many is in favor of sharing space for rental charge? Those opposed? All right, sounds like you've got a big majority. Thank you very much for being here today. This won't be the last congregational meeting. Shall we close with prayer?